Everyone, because this is a replacement of the original. You know what I think it might be, because I know they had some of it down there and they were restoring it.
Most of the room, each room has a unique tile pattern.
All different.
Right.
The old days, before Fred Harvey, the train would stop. They'd have basically 15 minutes. They'd fly into the dining room. They'd serve them a bunch of crappy food. They didn't have enough time to eat it because basically as soon as put in front of them, the train said it's time to go. They would take the leftovers, scrape them back into a bowl, and feed it to the next train. So that's kind of how Fred Harvey came about and said, you know, we need to update food across America. Fred Harvey kitchen was still there. All the equipment, the big stoves. I mean, it was just unbelievable to be here at that time. And the interesting part, the only other thing that was here was a dog that was owned by the caretaker who wasn't here at that time. So for 3 hours, it was me and the dog kind of walking around. Every few minutes, the dog would freak out and go running off. And I kept thinking, is that the ghost, you know, or what was going on? But it was just, for me, one, a Fred Harvey fan, and two, a restaurateur, to be inside that kitchen. It was just phenomenal. It was like being in a time warp.
I really like it. My daughters are actually into the history stuff and learning about ghosts and stuff like that. So she did some research and she already knew some of the layouts, so she kind of taught me about it. And it's nice to see that they're opening up the rooms. They were much smaller before. And I really like the upgrades. The color choices are pretty too.
This hotel is part of what brought us to New Mexico.
Where are you from?
Well, at the time we lived in Kansas, and we would travel here on the train to see my folks in Rio Rancho. And we were just taken with this property, just the beauty of it. And then a few years later, we actually ended up living here for just a few months. But we're still in New Mexico. Love New Mexico.
I found medicine bottles that had chloroform in them, and I found telegrams from 1906 requesting information about work that's being done here. All the tags for all the original materials to build this place, they would just throw them in the attic, and no one cleaned the attic in the last 120 years, except for me. And I probably found 100 different little things with handwriting and bottles and cigarette packs and all kinds.
I am so impressed. It's amazing. It's wonderful to see this jewel come back to life.
A number of times at their place in Winslow, and when they heard they bought this place, we came up to look, and we're kind of renovation junkies, so we had to come up and see what they're doing. And they always do a brilliant job.
Hotel, I used to come here when I was younger, and I went to show my husband.
And so what do you think?
It's beautiful. It's going to be very beautiful when it's finished.
We've heard of it, and
Now, okay, so you've heard of it. How does it compare with your vision of what you thought it was going to be?
I think it's going to be elegant. I love the spacious feeling, even though the age of the hotel perhaps didn't lend itself to the high ceilings that it has. It's lovely. It's really beautiful.